disclosure. I don't have like such images in one. She does talk a lot about suicide and depression and cutting even. She even has pictures of her own cutting in her book and stuff like that. So I just want to kind of give a disclosure that she does cover a lot of sensitive topics, especially on rape and abuse and pedophilia. So I just want to give that quick disclosure just in case anyone's uncomfortable with that. So that being said, doing my presentation on Emilie Autumn. And there you can see that's a page from her book. It's like the one of the front pages. Who is this wayward Victorian girl that I'm doing this on? Well, first of all, she's a violinist and a poet, harpsichordist, a baker, a composer, a songwriter, a book author, and now even an actress. In her early life, I'm not going to have to really talk about from point A. I don't have the dates, but I feel like it's a very important thing to talk about. Her very early life. Her mother was a seamstress, and that actually has a lot to do with her fashion, I feel. It had a lot of inspirations on making her clothing and stuff like that, because a lot of the stuff she does wear, she puts together herself. She has an older sister that we know about, and we know that when she was young, she did have a lot of sexual abuse. And she suffered from auditory hallucinations, and she had a German father who's out of the picture now, but when I did get to meet her once at a screening in the movie she was in, she had to sing a bit in German. And so she apologized, she butchered it, because her earliest exposure to German language were naughty words, and so that's all that her extent of knowledge of German was, and that kind of gives you an idea of what her father was like. That's her wording, by the way. And it was when she was a child that her love for music and poetry began. When she was only 4 years old, she saw a violin, she's like, I want that, and she became a violin prodigy at the age of 4. And it was at that age she began doing a music camp, and to kind of as an escape from music camp, because it was strict and whatnot, she started doing a baking camp on the side, and that's when she was still just a child, she learned to become a professional baker. And she likes to have this claim that her family died and burned in a fire, and that's actually not true, but it's true to her in the sense that they're dead to her. And I have this very long quote here. Unfortunately, it's one of the things in her audiobook that's not recorded, but I actually really like it to help explain her past. This is from her to her when she was being committed to a hospital, that she was explaining why she's depressed and why she tried killing herself. First, I was born. And then I was molested, and then I was stalked, and then I was raped, all the while being mentally terrorized by the people who were supposed to love me, and then I ran away. And then I was depressed, and then I was suicidal. Well, actually, I've been depressed and suicidal since I was 4, and oh, did I mention that my ancestry is positively littered with lunatics and girls who fall down rabbit holes. And then I tried to jump in front of a train, but there were too many people watching. And yes, I'm a show pony, clearly, but the train option is just vulgar, anyhow. And then I finally got myself medicated, even though I didn't want to, because I don't take drugs, and I was afraid that my personality would be erased. But then my doctor tried to fuck me, and then I was diagnosed with manic depression, which really explained a lot. And then I compared the brands of rat poisons, but didn't like the idea of supporting any company that obtained its revenue from the annihilation of one of our most charming and intelligent creatures. And then I was emotionally slaughtered by the only person I've ever trusted with the care and feeding of a heart I never knew I had until it was dead. And then I pulled an Ophelia and tried to drown myself in the lake behind his house. And then I was put on more pills. And then I was on the pill, which was supposed, because I had a fear of pregnancy. Because I had so I couldn't get pregnant no matter what, because I had severe tocophobia, which is a fear of pregnancy. But you probably knew that already. And I would never in good conscience pass on my genetics. And then I found out that I was 3.5 months pregnant, even though I was on the pill that's supposed to prevent one from getting pregnant no matter what. And the boy involved was appallingly cruel about it all. And so I tried to buy cyanide, and that's not as easy as it sounds. And then I had an abortion, was wide awake the whole time, and it was incredibly violent, like being raped by steel. And I said sorry to the baby, and then I looked across the shabby operating room in a plastic bag full of everything they had just sucked out, because the nurse had forgotten to hide it. And I was completely alone through all of this forever and ever and ever. So then I took all my sleeping pills at once, because I have actually been dead for years and years and years and years and years, but my body just doesn't realize it yet. And then my doctor sent me to the suicide watch, and here I am. I hope it hasn't started without me. So like I said, she does cover a lot of different topics. So first I'm going to talk about her poetry. She doesn't have an actual print, as far as I know, of her poetry book, but she did give a PDF to anyone who bought the digital download of it. And I went through and I even printed it out and I decorated it and stuff like that, as you can see. And her poetry book is called When Your Sugar Sits Untouched, Tea Time Poems by Emilie Autumn. And she's got a variety of different styles, but all of them have a very classical feel to them. She's got sonnets and fairy tales. She even has like these rants. And she's got activist poems too, like feminist poems. She even has one from when she was a child, and there's a little note on the bottom like, oh, poem from when I was a ridiculously serious child. And like on the audio part, she says that and also goes, well, we've all got to start somewhere. And the poem I like to share is Everybody's Girl. I feel like it kind of goes with the whole feminist thing, so. And I have the words up there.
Defenseless more and more each time. Desecration is their crime. Vandalizing every line, everybody's pet. Becoming someone else outside, hoping to protect and hide what they smile at and deride. Everybody's fool. Awaiting still some unknown sign, but she'll lose a chance to shine. How should she her life define? No one's woman yet.
I would have shared some other poems, but obviously I don't have enough time. But that one was a nice short one that kind of gives a good feel for some of the stuff, and kind of how she even, I don't know, it feels like a very special feel when you get to hear her read them. And that's actually something very big about her musical career, is that, I actually forgot to put these points in here, but she actually started her own production first. So first she originally was writing and composing music, and she sent to a production company, but she did not like the way they were doing it, so she made her own production company and started making her music herself. She originally did not plan on singing her own songs. She actually states in her book and even in old interviews that she never really liked her voice or whatnot. And so she was at one point part of a band called Raven Song, and then she went into her first album on her own called Enchant. And as you see in that fairy-esque picture in the top corner, that was kind of her style. She did a lot of fairy tales-like themes, and she had a fairy look, and it had a lot more of a Renaissance and a Victorian feel. And then her next album was Ophelia, which covers a lot of her depression and suicidal thoughts, even revenge about wanting to murder those who have wronged her and stuff like that. And a lot of mental illness, sexual abuse, and pedophilia. And then the next album, Like a Girl, and like I had that in order, so, but yeah, Ophelia and Like a Girl, that was a lot more based off her book. And I'll talk about that soon, and it's going to be a musical soon with some of the songs that's on that album. And I'll play these if you have enough time. So next I'm going to talk about her shows. They're quite the experience. It's not just a concert. It's not just music. She states in like an interview, I couldn't find the exact quote, but it was, if people want it to be just about the music, they can just listen to it in their living room with their headphones or whatnot. But if they come into the show, they want the full experience. They want and so she has these group of girls called the Bloody Crumpets. They're like her backup singers and dancers, and they have a wide variety of performance skills, from fire dancing and stilt walking and burlesque dancing. This lady right here, this is Veronica Garlow. She's one of her closest, the Bloody Crumpets, and she's a professional burlesque dancer and model. And so she does actually burlesque performances on stage, and then she also had for a long time she had this rule that it was females only allowed on stage, but I feel like it's probably changed now because she has performed with men in films, and then she has performed with a man on stage recently for her musical. She's going to perform with men, and she's in a lot better of a place because this is female things, because she even went as far in one interview to say like, oh, Inky Dust, the person who was producing music for the time, is the only man she doesn't feel like killing yet. So you can see how she has some problems as a feminist, or had. Now the experience that started the asylum, and that's the book that she has written. She was committed to a mental hospital after a suicide attempt, and she wrote a book. Half of it was nonfiction experiences from her own journal entries that she was writing while she was there. and then the other half is fictional. And I feel like it's partly a way of escaping kind of the feeling of having to be stuck there, and it was a Victorian counterpart of her in an asylum, Emilie Autumn. She soon after wrote the album Felt Like a Girl, which is based off the book, and then she recorded the audiobook recently, and it came out. And she's currently working on the musical, and the director would be Darren Lynn Belsman. So here are some pages, like ideas of what the book actually looks like. It's fully detailed. She's got drawings. She even has, not only does she have the journal entries from her stay, she also has journal entries from before and after that, from like her cutting diary and her suicide diary and her drug diary. So basically, she had like this one thing when she was having withdrawal because when she was on tour, the airport wouldn't let her take her drugs. So she was having like parentheses within parentheses within parentheses, and she was talking about, I get a award for how many parentheses I have in here. If you have time, I'll play some snippets from the book, but I just want to, and I already started talking about her problems with a feminist, about her sexism towards men, and she's doing a lot better about that now. She has definitely come out of that show, especially since she's in a healthy relationship, healthy ambiguous relationship. It's possible they're actual lovers. It's possible that they're just joking about it and they're just really close friends. And she's with a man named Mark Center. He's an actor who she met on the set of the movie she started in, and so that's it's good that she's starting to break out of that, because it was very off-putting to a lot of people that she was, you know, like pro-female, but then very anti-male, and even in her songs, she's starting to show that a bit more. Why did I pick her? Well, for one, I do relate to her a lot on a personal level because of the whole mental disorders and stuff like that. My own mother was diagnosed with bipolar around the same time I had discovered Emilie Autumn, and she is bipolar. And then she does stand up for things that I agree with, and I do too, like feminism, LGBT plus rights, especially since she does some that are even like a little more under the rug, even diary discriminated LGBT, like polyamory, and I myself am polyamory. I also love polyamorous. I am polyamory. Her themes and styles also, as you can see, like I know I'm dressed like this on the day I present about her, but this actually is a style I do love to do on my own, whether or not it's related to her. And then she also is very inspirational to me. That picture right there, that's actually a photo that I took myself based off of her book. She has inspired me a lot in my art and going forward. I have some quotes in here, but you can also, if you want to look at the books I have or something, you can look at them there. I have a little bit of time, so I made sure to grab short snippets. Oh, I didn't even actually exit out of the slideshow. I forgot to phone. So I'll play some snippets from her book. So I'm going to do first her snippet as a hospital entry. So
in other cases, the wretches are simply too dangerous, too senseless, or too sad, though whether they were such when they arrived here, or have only become so since, is something I will never know. Of course, these observations are of the greatest concern to me personally. Is it only a matter of time before I forget how to use a spoon as well? Is it my relative sanity that makes my life here so painful, so desperate, so hopeless? Loosen my grip on that, and perhaps life both in the asylum and out becomes much easier.
Sorry. And that would be part of her violin. And then the next one is As Emilie Autumn,
number 32. The greatest luxury of being an Opheliac is that we are not made to return to our wards at night, but are instead housed temporarily in the servants' quarters below the kitchen. This is a palace after what we have endured within our cells upstairs, and we only feel sorry for the girls who are not here with us. I think of the captain often, and have a sneaking suspicion that I do not yet wish to share.
So as you can see in the audiobook, she tried doing the accents a bit in the asylum part. I have more to it, but I don't think I have enough time to share more. And so I want to thank you for listening. If you want to know more about her, her book is called The Asylum for Wayward Victorian Girls. She has a website, emilieautumn.com, very easy to find. And she even has a Twitter, Emilie Autumn Official, I believe is her name. And so